Hello there everybody, a very good afternoon to you all and welcome back to howtotrade.com and welcome back to another live stream here in our trading room and of course across our X channel, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. We're live pretty much everywhere this afternoon as we cover for you the US inflation live. We're going to cover the event for you live. We have the decision, we have the report out in just under 15 minutes time. So now is a great time to ask any questions that you may have in the lead up to what I would say is probably the single most volatile event that we have this week, and that's why we're covering it for you completely live. I'm going to give you my raw reaction to that, and I'm going to have a look at some key levels to watch out for before the event comes out as well. So we'll have a look at those. It seems to work quite well. I do some targets for a higher inflation print and some targets for a lower inflation print. And quite often, we've managed to do quite well in predicting that as well. So feel free to ask any questions that you may have or any concerns you may have about the inflation, about any of the markets that will be affected by inflation. I can see a question already from Bobby there about how the CPI could affect Bitcoin. We'll take a look at Bitcoin for you, no problem. Hello to the rest of you in the trading room. If you are around today, feel free to pop up and say hello. We've got some action in the trading room today. Dibble, hello to you and a very good day. I hope you're doing well and happy trading to you. Martin174, hello to you. Good afternoon. Danis, good afternoon to you as well. JBreads93, hello to you, mate. I hope you're doing well and thank you very much for the message today. We're going to cover for you, the guys who are just joining, we're covering US CPI live. Dragon131, good morning to you and good afternoon to you. I hope you're doing well and thank you very much for the message today on the stream. So, if you're not aware of what we have coming out in, 12 minutes time, I'll point you in the right direction. Let me just load up our economic calendars and let's have a quick look at the forecasted figures for today when it comes to US inflation. So consumer price index, CPI, it is just the inflation rate in the US. That's what we're looking at today. So we're looking at these for data releases at the moment. The main one, which was still sort of the headlines, is the year-on-year consumer price index. As you can see, the previous 2.4%. We're expecting the forecast for the CPI is expected to tick slightly higher, up to 2.6%, so a slight increase in the yearly figure. The core CPI, which is this one here where it says excluding food and energy, that's your core CPI, and that's expected to remain up at around 3.3%. Quite important actually, because if you have a look at and hopefully you guys know by now that this is a really important thing to look at. Moses on the YouTube channel, hello to you and hope you're doing well when this actually loads. There we go. The data that we've got coming out in the next sort of 6 weeks or so is really important because at the moment, sorry, I just realised I shouted down the mic. At the moment, you can see the predictions for the next interest rate decision are quite, in the air. There's a lot of wiggle room either way, really. It's favoured at the moment that the Fed are going to cut rates by 25 basis points, but there is now a 38% chance that the Fed are going to hold rates where they are. If inflation comes in higher today, I imagine that there's going to be more noise to keep rates where they are, keep them where they are. But if inflation does come in softer, then the chances of a 25 basis point rate cut will be greater. And what that would mean for the markets. Hello to you, Otiri, on the YouTube channel as well. Thank you very much for the message, and I hope you're doing well. What that would mean for the markets is, and I'm going to start to put in my predictions. As you can see, our Trump win level of 105 has now been broken, and we're now trading it up at 106 on the dollar index. So, if today we get an inflation print which is, let's say, at least what the forecast is, or maybe even higher, I believe that we will see the dollar index make. Let's just go down onto a lower time frame. We're probably going to come up to around 106.5 in the next couple of days. So that would be for. We're talking about year-on-year figures. Let's call it what was the forecast for? 2.6%, sorry. So let's say 2.7% or more, we should expect the US dollar to continue its bullish momentum and up towards that 106.5 area. If inflation comes in a bit softer, then it wouldn't surprise me if we come and make a really a play at this liquidity area down here, around 105.5. That would be for, I would say, an inflation print of 2.3% or lower. Obviously, the core CPI is important as well. I'm just giving you some rough guidelines of what to expect. I'm not saying that you'll get this move straight away, but I imagine in the next couple of days, like you saw with the Trump victory and like we've done before with this sort of technique, is that that's our sort of target for future trading sessions. Okay, brilliant. Right. Okay, that's for the dollar index. How would that marry up on some of the charts? Well, obviously, euro dollar, dollar yen, for example, they're going to be the important ones to take a look at. Let me just quickly pause just to see if there's any questions that have come through. I think we're all good. Jeanette, hello to you as well. Hope you're doing well. And thank you very much for the messages. It must be late for you, Jeanette, on the stream. Good dedication, that. Love it. Okay, so heading on to the euro dollar chart, as you can see, that trend rider trade was really, really good. Similar sort of thing here. If we look at the 4-hour time frame, so no, let's just go down onto the hourly time frame. Our hawkish print, remember our higher inflation print, then it wouldn't surprise me if we see euro dollar come probably, because remember, what you've got to remember is you've already come really, really far on the dollar. It's already been surging. So you always got to remember what will the shock be to the markets. Well, the shock to the markets here is if inflation comes in softer, because a lot of people are already sort of pricing in a higher dollar. Everyone's buying into the dollar. Everyone thinks inflation now is going to rise. Trump is seen as more inflationary. And so it's already come really fast. So so the shock will be if inflation is soft. I hope that makes sense. What is the higher risk here? So if inflation does come in stronger, then I could see a move down to 105.5. So we're still talking 70 pips or so. So that's our CPI of 2.7% or higher. But if it's to come in softer, then it wouldn't surprise me if we get a bit of a surge. So that's our 2.3% or lower. Something that looks a little bit like that. And if you can do that with most of the dollar pairs, like for example, if you're in a trade right now, you can just maybe use those levels if you want to do so. Actually, I'm going to put that target down to 107. There we go. Right. Now, in terms of Bitcoin, which is a very interesting one. How long? We've got 5 minutes to go until the release, so stop rambling, Connor, and get on to the important stuff. Who's been holding on to their Bitcoin? Come on, let me know in the chat room. Who has been holding on to their Bitcoin? Because if you have, you've been a winner, that's for sure. You can see really what happened on Bitcoin prices is obviously you can see a bit of inducement, maybe even a bullish pennant. And to be fair, we did actually call the breakout in Bitcoin quite a while ago. So hopefully you guys managed to benefit from that. It reacted so perfectly from a daily demand zone as well. Bobby, you're probably asking where you think Bitcoin's going to go. It wouldn't surprise me if we get a softer inflation print. And I'm not saying this is going to be the catalyst to bring Bitcoin up to 100,000. But I'm seeing a lot of analysts predicting we're going to see 100,000 before the end of the year, which would be very, very interesting. A softer inflation print today will help Bitcoin prices, I imagine. It will help fuel the rally. And so I'm not giving that as a target, 100,000 for a target off the back of a softer inflation print, but we're probably likely to see 90,000 be breached should inflation come in softer today. And inflation is never really seen as a positive thing for risk assets. And so inflation becoming, showing signs of increasing today, then we'll probably likely see Bitcoin maybe come back down towards the sort of mid 85,000s. And you can do the same sort of thing with the stock market as well. Where's the stock market? Red list. Here we are. Here we go. FitLife, hello to you. Good to see you. On the oil trade yesterday. Fantastic. We had a look at that daily head and shoulders. I even posted it in the room. It looks good. So I'm glad you managed to make some profit from my oil analysis yesterday. These markets, it's really difficult to analyze the stock market at the moment because, it's just the volume is sort of decreasing. I wouldn't say that we're falling here. I'd say it's more of a pause or a consolidation period. Typically, a higher inflation print would be seen as more negative for the stock market, but I'm probably going to prefer to play the inflation story with the US dollar rather than the stock market, if I'm being brutally honest. And again, similar sort of thing to on gold, for example. I know a lot of you are out there trading gold. Look at that beautiful trend rider trade that was just fantastic. If we get a softer inflation print today, then we're probably going to see that weaker dollar, and that weaker dollar could help boost gold maybe up to the 2,650 level. But a stronger inflation print, again, stronger US dollar, we're likely to see gold maybe fall down towards and below 2,600. Okay, good stuff. Right, we have got Bobby's holding his Bitcoin, which is fantastic. I'm going to now go on to the 1 minute chart. Should we have a look at gold? Because gold tends to react quite aggressively to the inflation print. If you do manage to get the inflation print, drop it in the chat room. I'll be interested to know what it is. I've got it on the side as well. And good luck to all those trading. We've got 30 seconds to go until that set of inflation is out. Let's see how much gold spikes or falls off the back of it. If you are in trades, be very careful. Next 20 seconds, there's going to be probably a big influx of volatility into the market. So just be very careful. Make sure you're risk managed here. Be very careful buying or selling just before the release. We can always let the market settle first. Okay, right. We've got some FOMC members speaking as well later on. Here we go. Gold, here goes gold. Right. Where's that inflation print? 2.6% on the CPI. What was expected? The core CPI, everything was in line with expectations. How's the US dollar reacted to that? Yeah, this is what I was saying. The shock to the markets, or the risk to the markets, the barrier was quite high for inflation today. So I'm not surprised that even though we've seen inflation tick slightly higher, that we see the US dollar initially selling off. I think this still represents a good opportunity to buy the US dollar because we are still seeing inflation rise. So we've got a CPI year-on-year figure of 2.6%. And as a result, we are seeing the dollar index fall. What have we seen on the stock market? Stock market is rising. This is being treated as a bit of a softer print, which suggests to me that what was being priced into the markets was already such a high barrier. I've had an alert be tagged on the Aussie dollar versus the US dollar. I believe there's a potential trend rider opportunity shaping up. There. Potential trend rider trade coming in. Okay, very interesting. Already though, you can see some of those gains starting to be lost. I would say this is a bit of a... It's a figure which I can't imagine we're going to get a huge directional move off, if I'm being honest. What was Bloomberg saying? Yeah, US CPI rises 0.2%. What do I think of it? Well, I think this is quite inflationary. To be fair, I think that this opens the door for more dollar strength further down the line. What's it done to the expectations for the Fed? Has it moved the goalpost at all? Let me just refresh this page. Yeah, there we go. I told you that's what it would do. We're now seeing now a 41% chance that the Fed are going to hold rates where they are. So this is definitely more of a hawkish print, and therefore don't think that this dollar weakness is going to be very long lived, because this is a sign, an initial sign that inflation is just starting to tick higher. It's still sort of within the sort of Fed's target, but they won't want to see it much higher than where it is right now. And that's really now the risk going forward. The risk seems to now be not about whether there's going to be a recession or not, but actually whether about inflation is gonna increase. For those of you who have been around in the markets for the past sort of couple of years, when inflation was rising and the Federal Reserve were obviously a lot more hawkish, the dollar had a fantastic 12 months of trading to the upside. Expect something similar if we now are actually amazingly going into an inflationary period in the markets. And I think that's what's starting to be priced in. Okay, remember guys, you can trade all of this with an account with Switch Markets. They will match your deposit up to $5,000 in credit. So if you are looking to get involved in some of the action today, then head over to switchmarkets.com or message me for more details on this offer. Does anyone have any questions about the inflation figure that's come out? This is sort of in a no trade zone for me. In fact, where's the Aussie dollar versus the US dollar? Quite like the idea of this trend rider trade. Might post this one in the room for you. Looks like we've already potentially had that test. Let's just see how this goes. I'm going to let these markets settle for a bit, I think. What's happening with oil? There you go, look. This oil trade is still looking really nice. So yeah, nothing's changed too much. Inflation in line with expectations. I'll let the market settle before jumping in. We've got a few active trades, and yeah, that just about covers it. Inflation is ticking slightly higher in the US. I hope everyone has a fantastic trading day, and I appreciate everyone joining into the stream. I'll be back again tomorrow morning, normal time tomorrow, and hopefully we can have a bit more clear direction in terms of how this news has been digested. Do trade well, trade safe, and I will catch you all very shortly. Thank you very much.